Dear learners, today we will discuss degrees of comparison of adjectives. So what is degrees of comparison? Degrees of comparison is the change in adjectives in their forms to show comparison. You see, we already know what is an adjective, and we have also learned the different types of adjectives. So now what we are going to learn is the degrees of comparison of adjectives. So the question is very obvious, what is degrees of comparison? So degrees of comparison means when we are making comparison between people, between things, we use adjectives. And when we are making comparison, these adjectives that we are using, they change their forms. And this change in the form of adjective while making comparison is called degrees of comparison. Means degrees of comparison of adjectives. So that is clear. So there are 3 degrees of comparison of adjectives. Means an adjective has 3 degrees of comparison. 1 positive degree, 2 comparative degree, and 3 superlative degree. So these are the 3 degrees of comparison of an adjective: positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Now let us study the following sentences. You see, there are 3 sentences here. Ramu is a tall boy. First. Second, Shamu is taller than Ramu. Then third, Ramu is the tallest boy in the class. You see, in these 3 sentences, I have underlined the adjectives, and it is very clear. You can clearly make it out that how the adjective tall has changed from sentence 1 to sentence 3, 2 and 3. In the first sentence it is just tall, in the second sentence it becomes taller, and in the third sentence it has become tallest. So this change in the form of the adjective during comparison is called degrees of comparison of adjectives. So this thing you please keep in mind, these 3 sentences. We will need them while we discuss the 3 degrees of comparison. So now that we have come to know that the 3 degrees of comparison: positive, comparative, and superlative. So now we will try to learn these 3 degrees of comparison one by one. So first one is the positive degree. So what is positive degree of comparison of adjectives? When an adjective is used without any comparison, it is said to be in positive degree. So when we are using an adjective without making any comparison, like India is a big country, you see. So here we are not comparing India with any other country. We are just saying India is a big country. So the adjective used here is big, and we are just saying India is a big country. We are not making any comparison. So in this way, when we are using an adjective without making any comparison, is said to be in positive degree. You see, example in sentence 1 above, Ramu's height is not compared to anybody's height in the class. Just the base adjective tall is used, which is in positive degree. So you can use it, sentence 1. Ramu is a tall boy. You see, here Ramu is not being compared with anybody, or his height is not being compared to any other boy's height in the class. So in such a situation, when the adjective is used without making any comparison, at that time the adjective is said to be in positive degree. Okay, now let us see the next one, comparative degree. So when an adjective is used to compare 2 persons or things or places or animals or birds or qualities of the nouns, it is said to be in comparative degree. So when we are comparing 2, so as I said, the 2 can be 2 persons, 2 things, 2 places. It may be 2 animals, 2 birds, or 2 qualities in nouns. So at that time when we are using the adjective, it is said to be in comparative degree. You see, in sentence 2 above, comparison is made between two, that is Ramu and Shamu, and the adjective taller is used, which is in comparative degree. So you see, in the sentence 2, we can clearly see Shamu and Ramu. So comparison is between two. So when we are making comparison between two, at that time, the form of the adjective that we use, it is said to be in comparative degree. Okay, now the last one is superlative degree. So when an adjective is used to compare more than two persons, things, places, animals, birds, or qualities of nouns, it is said to be in superlative degree. तो अभी हम लोग बोला कि जब दो चीज़ों का, दो लोगों का बीच में कंपैरिजन होता है, तब हम लोग कंपैरेटिव डिग्री यूज़ करता है. तो उसी प्रकार जब कोई भी चीज़ दो से ज़्यादा हो जाता है, तो उस समय में हम लोग जब तुलना करता है, कंपेयर करता है, उस समय हम लोग सुपरलेटिव डिग्री यूज़ करता है. तो इन सेंटेंस 3 above, comparison is made between more than two boys in the class, and the adjective tallest is used, which is in superlative degree. You see, now sentence 3 again, Damu is the tallest boy in the class. So in the class means there are many boys, at least more than two. So therefore here the comparison is made between more than two. So it may be 10, 20, 30. So among them, Damu is the tallest. And when we are making comparison between more than two persons, things, places, animals, birds, or qualities, as I have said, at that time when we are using the form of an adjective, that form of adjective is said to be in superlative degree. Okay, now that we have learned the 3 degrees of comparison, now we will try to learn how to form the positive and comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives. You see, formation of degrees of comparison. You see, how do we form? The first rule says we add er to the positive adjective, to the adjective to form comparative degree, and est to the adjective to form the superlative degree. By adding er and est to base adjectives to form comparative and superlative degrees respectively. So the first rule says to form the comparative degree, we add er to the base adjective, and to form the superlative degree, we add est to the base adjective and form the comparative and superlative degrees respectively. You see, from this example you will get a clear idea. You see, these are the positive degrees, means they are the base adjectives. So how they change in the superlative, in the comparative and superlative degrees. Let us see, sweet, sweeter. You see, we have added just er, and we have made it, converted it into comparative degree, and it in the superlative degree it becomes sweetest. So we have added est. So likewise, the other adjectives can be written in the comparative and superlative degrees. You see, short, shorter, shortest, high, higher, highest, kind, kinder, kindest, long, longer, longest, smart, smarter, smartest, clever, cleverer, cleverest, old, older, oldest, young, younger, youngest. So this is one way of forming comparative and superlative degrees. Then the second one, by adding r and st to the base adjectives ending in e to form comparative and superlative degrees respectively. So when an adjective ends in e, you see these adjectives, they are ending in e, last में e आता है. जब कोई भी adjective लास्ट में जिसका स्पेलिंग e आता है, तो उस समय में हम लोग comparative और superlative डिग्री कैसे बनाते हैं. तो उस समय हम लोग कॉम्पेरेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए आर जोड़ देते हैं, और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए एसटी जोड़ देते हैं। जो इसी एग्जांपल में देखो, पॉजिटिव डिग्री में जो एडजेक्टिव है देखो वाइस है, तो उसका comparative degree में it becomes wiser, just we have added r. In the superlative degree it has become wisest. What we have done, we have just added st. So likewise, sure, surer, surest, brave, braver, bravest, fine, finer, finest, little, littler, littlest, grave, graver, gravest, large, larger, largest, noble, nobler, noblest, and simple, simpler, simplest. So this was the second way of forming comparative and superlative degrees. Now the third one says, if an adjective ends in y and is preceded by a consonant, then drop y and add IER and IEST to form comparative and superlative degrees respectively. So जब भी कोई एडजेक्टिव क्लास में y आता है, देखो ये लोग y आता है, तब हम लोगों को कंपैरेटिव और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए क्या करना है, हम लोगों को सबसे पहले y को हटाना है। y को हटाने के बाद में कंपैरेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए हम लोगों को क्या करना है, IER डालना है, और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए क्या करना है, IEST जोड़ना है, तो वो बन जाएगा कंपैरेटिव और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री। देखो जैसे हैप्पी, हैप्पियर, देखो यहाँ में y गायब हो गया, उसका जगह में क्या आ गया, IER। हैप्पीएस्ट सुपरलेटिव डिग्री में, तो यहाँ भी क्या हो गया, y गायब हो गया, उसका जगह में क्या आया, IAST। तो इस प्रकार हम लोग जब y जब लास्ट में आता है तो y को हटा के IER कंपैरेटिव डिग्री में और IAST सुपरलेटिव डिग्री में बना लेते हैं। तो देखो इसी प्रकार होली, होलियर, होलीएस्ट, इजी, इजियर, इजिएस्ट, बिजी, बिजियर, बिजिएस्ट। सो दिस इज also one way of forming comparative and superlative degree when an adjective ends in y. So now the fourth way of forming comparative superlative degrees. In case of some adjectives, the last letter is doubled before adding ER and EST to form comparative and superlative degrees respectively. तो कुछ एडजेक्टिव में क्या होता है, जो लास्ट लेटर होता है उसको हम लोग डबल कर देता है, और उसके बाद में कंपैरेटिव डिग्री में ER डाल देते हैं और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री में EST जोड़ देते हैं, और बन जाता है कंपैरेटिव और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री। देखो you see positive degree, these are the positive degrees, how they are converted or changed into comparative and superlative degree. You see the hot, HOT क्या बन जाता है, देखो HOT हो जाता है, मीन्स वी आर डबलिंग द लास्ट लेटर। ये जो लास्ट लेटर है उसको हम लोग डबल कर देता है और उसका आगे में ER जोड़ देता है कंपैरेटिव डिग्री के लिए, और लास्ट लेटर को डबल करके EST जोड़ देता है सुपरलेटिव डिग्री बनाने के लिए। इन द सेम वे यू सी बिग, बिगर, हियर आल्सो यू सी big, G has been doubled, bigger, biggest, thin, thinner, N has been doubled, thinnest, fat, fatter, again T has been doubled, fattest, wet, wetter, wettest, sad, sadder, saddest. You see this D in sad has been doubled before adding AR and EST to form comparative and superlative degree. Then what does the next one say? What does next one says? Let us say, in some adjectives, the comparative and superlative degrees are formed by preceding more and most to the positive degree. तो कुछ adjective में क्या करता है, हम लोग ER या IER या EST या IEST नहीं डाल सकता है, तो उसमें हम लोग क्या करता है, एडजेक्टिव का आगे में हम लोग मोर या मोस्ट डाल के कंपैरेटिव और सुपरलेटिव डिग्री बनाते हैं। देखो कुछ वर्ड है जो पॉजिटिव डिग्री में इम्पोर्टेंट, कंपैरेटिव डिग्री में क्या बन गया, मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, सुपरलेटिव डिग्री में बन गया मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट। सो इसी प्रकार ब्यूटीफुल, मोर ब्यूटीफुल, मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल, हैंडसम, मोर हैंडसम, मोस्ट हैंडसम, इंटेलिजेंट, मोर इंटेलिजेंट, मोस्ट इंटेलिजेंट, लेबोरियस, मोर लेबोरियस, मोस्ट लेबोरियस, famous, more famous, most famous, perfect, more perfect, most perfect. So in this way also adjectives, they change their form in the comparative and superlative degrees. Then next one, number 6, it says Some adjectives do not follow any rule. They are called irregular adjectives, and they form their comparative and superlative degree in their own way, in a very irregular way. They do not follow any rule. So these are some adjectives. So how they change in comparative and superlative degrees, you see. Good or well, they become better, best. Better in the comparative degree and best in the superlative degree. That means good, better, best, or well, better, best. So good and well, they have the same comparative and superlative degree. Then bad, ill, they become worse and worst in the comparative and superlative degrees. Bad, worse, worst. Ill, worse, worst. They are the same. Then little, less, least. Much, more, most. Many, more, most. Late, later, latest, or last. Old, older, oldest. Old, elder, eldest. One old means जो बूढ़ा हो गया वो है, और एक ओल्ड जो है कि कौन किससे बड़ा है. देखो ओल्ड, एल्डर का मतलब है कि कौन थोड़ा उम्र में ज़्यादा है, और एक तो है कि कौन ज़्यादा बूढ़ा है. तो ओल्ड का दो तरह से बनता है, ओल्ड, ओल्डर, ओल्डेस्ट, ओल्ड, एल्डर, एल्डेस्ट. ओके. देन फार, ये डिस्टेंस के लिए है. फार, फार्दर, फारदेस्ट. फार ये एक्सटेंड, किस हद तक, उसके लिए है फार, फर्दर, फर्देस्ट. So these are some irregular adjectives and how they form the comparative and superlative degrees. So this was all about the degrees of comparison of adjectives and how they form their comparative and superlative degrees. Now what we will do, we will try to do some practice exercises. Okay, let us do some practice exercise. Okay, let me get my pen. You see, practice exercises. What it is said, number 1, fill in the blanks with the suitable form of the adjectives given in the brackets. Okay, you see some adjectives are given in the brackets: good, rich, little, beautiful, high, busy. So we have to use the correct form of these adjectives in the blanks and fill them. So let us see the first one. Number 1, our school is the dash in the state. So good. So good is the adjective. So whether we have to use it as it is, or we have to use its comparative or superlative form. So here we have to use the suitable or appropriate form of good in this blank. You see, our school is the. So when there is the, that means we have to always use the superlative degree of the adjective. So here the adjective is good. So what is the superlative degree of good? So I have told you, good becomes better in the comparative degree and best in the superlative degree. So that means we have to use the superlative degree, that is best. So our school is the best. B-E-S-T. Our school is the best in the state. Okay. So because why there are many schools in the state, so we are making comparison between more than 2. Therefore we will use the superlative degree. The superlative degree of good is best. Then next one, his father is a dash man. So if in this sentence you see, his father means one person. So is he being compared with anybody? So there is no comparison made here with this person. किसी का पिताजी है, उस आदमी का किसी और के साथ comparison नहीं है. So in that case we will use the positive degree. So positive degree means the adjective given in the bracket itself is the positive degree. So we will write rich here. So his father is a rich man. Rich, richer, richest. But we will use the positive degree because here there is no comparison. Then next, I got less marks than my friend. You see, you can clearly see that there are two persons. One is I and second is my friend. So two persons are there. That means you have to use comparative degree. So what is the comparative degree of little? Little, less, least. So we will use less. Less is the comparative degree of little. Then next one, Minky is less than Pinky. You see again here two persons are there, two girls are there, Minky and Pinky. So again we will use comparative degree. So what is the comparative degree of beautiful? So it is not beautifuler or beautifulest, it is more beautiful. Okay, more beautiful. More beautiful. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Then number 5, Mount Everest is the dash peak in the world. So Mount Everest is the dash peak in the world. So the adjective is high. So you see again, we are talking about the whole world. So in the whole world there are many mountain peaks. So among them we are comparing Mount Everest with all the mountain peaks in the world. So that means the comparison is between more than 2. So therefore we will use the superlative degree of the adjective high. So what is the superlative degree of adjective high? High, higher, highest. So we will use highest. Then number 6, sentence 6, Mr. Verma is dash man, busy. Busy is the adjective here. So again here you see Mr. Verma, he is not being compared with anybody. So it is very obvious we will go with the positive degree, and the positive degree of busy is busy itself. So like this we have to write in case you are asked to write in the exam. Okay, now let us see one more exercise. Write the comparative and superlative forms of the following adjectives. So these are some adjectives in positive degree. We have to write their comparative and superlative degree. You see lucky, first one lucky. So whenever there is any adjective ending in y, what we should do? We have to first remove y. L-U-C-K. We will not write y because we have to remove it and replace it by I-E-R, luckier, and here it becomes luckiest. Energetic, it will become more energetic, and most energetic. Okay, like this. Then cute will take R and ST, cuter, cutest. Then lovely, then again we will have to remove y, lovelier, loveliest. Red, again here we have to double the last letter, R-A-D-D-E-R, redder. Here it will become reddest. Joyous, more joyous, and most joyous. And bitter, again more bitter. बिटर मीन्स हम लोग जिसको तीता बोलते हैं, करेला, मोस्ट बिटर. Then next one, many, what is this is an irregular adjective. Many, much, many, more, most. Many, more, most. Much, more, most. Many, more, most. Ill, worse, worst. Well, better, best. So like this, we should be in a position to write the comparative and superlative degrees of given positive degree adjectives. So that is all for today. Bye.